Morning.
Morning.
Hi, Sammy.
Morning.
Were you in the last meeting? Did I just not?
Did what, sorry?
Were you in the last meeting? Did I just not?
Last week? Yeah.
Just now.
It cut out last week, didn't it?
Hey, hang on. Let me mute everyone else. Can't hear you. Actually, I might get you to mute yourselves because I can't see my mute button now either. Grace. You got it? Grace is looking at the screen. If you click on yourself, can you find the little microphone button and press mute? I don't think I can hear her anyway. So did you get the 10 o'clock meeting, Sammy?
No. No, my internet was playing up and it cut out last week, didn't it?
Right then, so let's do problems first, because I know we might have some. We've got puppies and all. So does anybody want to give me a wave if you want to go first, and let me know if you're having specific issues that you want to talk about? Let me know. Okay, so this is Sammy.
Hi. I don't know whether it's a problem or just a puppy thing. When we're out walking, she is perfectly fine. Like, she does really well, but it's like so to get out of our development to get to like the main road to go for a walk, we obviously have to come back exactly the same way. And as soon as she realizes we're on the route home, she is literally like pulling. So the other day she got to the point where she was like and I was like, can you like stop? And she'd sit, and then as soon as we went off again, she'd like pull to the maximum capacity she could pull. So I suppose, is it just a learning thing, or is it not? Or
Okay, so it's not uncommon at all. So from the puppy's point of view, their safe place, the place that they feel most comfortable, the place that they're most at home is home. So quite often the cause of wanting to get back home is the same as us. You know, no matter how wonderful your holiday has been. Do you remember holidays? You're actually really pleased to get home, aren't you? You want, and that sensation of wanting to rush that journey to get back. Once you've accepted the fact that your holiday is nearly over. So puppies tend to have that drive. That's one of the drives to get home, to feel safe, to feel secure. The other reasons might be if you've got into a pattern of something brilliant happens once they get home. So that's when you tend to feed them. So they're anticipating that, and that's making them want to get excited to get home. Yeah. So, but commonly puppies, their first experiences of walks are that they're quite overwhelming, that they're quite scary, and that they want to get back to safety. And they know once they've figured out where home is, which she clearly has because she's doing the same route every day, she's going to want to rush back in that direction. So the question is, what do you do about it? Well, you do either what you're doing, which is just wait her out, wait until she realizes that to get you to move in that direction, she needs to do that with a loose lead. And that's quite hard. Yeah. If you're in a rush and you haven't got time, what I would say is before she starts pulling, run her home. So you run. Yeah. So you're running together. So that way you can finish that journey with a nice experience from your point of view and from the puppy's point of view. You're not getting stressed out about it. Then when you have got time, what I would do is backwards and forwards walks. So you go out, yeah, and before you've got anywhere, you turn around and you come back again. So then you can practice while your puppy is not overstressed or over anxious or over desperate to get home. You can practice your loose lead back. So you might find that you only go 5 feet on the first one, you turn around, you come back. Yeah, 10 feet, turn around, come back. So have a practicing walk rather than a walk. Does that make sense? Yeah. But yeah, eventually, I mean, I don't think it ever leaves them. I think every dog I've ever owned has always kind of picked up the pace. And when I was a horse rider, which I'm not unfortunately anymore, we had the same. We absolutely knew predictably that when you turned the horses around, they would get really speedy and exciting on the way home. You know, so we would expect that was when we were going to have to hold on tight and you know, sort ourselves out for that ride back. So it's a natural behavior, but yeah, and one of the harder ones I think for the pup to understand. So if you're in a rush, run them back, and when you've got time, then do the training, but do it in easy bits, backwards and forwards, so that they're getting lots of practice of walking towards home in a sensible way. Is that all right? Is that going to be possible, do you think? Does that feel like you can do that? Yeah, that's that grimace, wasn't it? Okay, any other questions at the moment? Any other wiggles for me? Go on then, Rufus.
I'm at that point where I hate my puppy. He looks all cute and innocent right now, and he's not. He's just biting everything. But the biggest thing is my son. He just will not leave my son alone. Jumping up at him, he started ripping his clothes because he's biting onto his clothes. We've tried the whole, standing still, but he just doesn't. He's not bothered. He will just pull and pull and pull. He's pulled his trousers down because he's pulled him that much, you know. Yeah, he's driving me mad. Driving me mad with the jumping on things, and like when we're eating as well. Like if we're sat eating, he'll be trying to jump up and take what we're eating. He's a little bugger.
Fab. Things that occur to me with this are, first of all, if the puppy has the opportunity to practice those behaviors, then those behaviors are going to get a response. And if the behavior is increasing in frequency or becoming more sticky, if you like, it's because it's getting reinforced. It is getting reinforcement, okay? So how would I go about it? The first thing I would do straight away is put management in place. If there is a situation where that behavior is happening, you need to make it impossible. All right, so if it's a certain time of the day when he's getting frantic, that's when he's the other side of a stair gate. Yeah, we make it impossible for him to. The next thing is, if we've got a behavior, it's functioning for a reason. It's got an emotional or a physical need behind it. So we can't just stop it, because if we try and just stop it, that need or that drive is still there. That cause is still there. So we have to start thinking, well, why is he in that frame of mind? Why is he going to be acting that way? Is the specific times of the day when he's more likely to be that way? Does it relate to when he gets fed? Does it relate to when he needs a poo? It seems to be a real wind-up issue for puppies. Get yourself a kind of diary, make notes, because then we can start to see patterns. And then what we do, once we've seen those patterns, when it's more likely to happen, we can see if there's anything we can tweak and change that would make him feel different, that would maybe change the need for that behavior. If we can't see that, then the one thing we do definitely have to do is replace the behavior with something that fulfills that need in a similar way, but is in a way that we can kind of cope with. So things like teaching him to tug specifically on his own toys rather than on clothes. If it is that he just needs to play. But if it's not a need to play, if it's him trying to communicate a different need to us, the first thing we need to do is try and figure out what that is. Yeah? So prevent it, analyze it, and then we can see what we can change. So yes, I can't give you a diet because it's an individual person thing. Yeah, I can't give you a puppies do this because he will have his own reasons. All right? To give you some ideas of which way to go. I don't want to leave you completely stuck, but is it giving you some sort of thoughts on what you can do? Okay, beautiful. Anyone else? Ooh, hello, Tina.
Morning. Yeah, we're kind of just plodding along, really. Interestingly, when you said you hate your puppy right now, my husband stuck his head up and he was nodding his head. It's the whole sleep thing. Again, she's doing so well in what I think all areas. You know, her recall's really good when we go out. She's friendly with other dogs, loves people. You know, it's just this waking up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning thing that we're really, really struggling with. That's the thing. And she doesn't, we don't come down to her. We don't come down. My husband gets up just after 5. She doesn't have a breakfast till, she didn't have a breakfast till I came down about 8:30 this morning. And she doesn't cry for it. He takes her straight out to the toilet and she'll literally have a little wee and that's it. So we don't think it's a toilet issue. I think she just wants people, wants company, I think. And we just don't know what to do with it.
Okay. And again, it's an individual analysis thing here. You've already mentioned a couple of the reasons I was going to suggest was hunger in the middle of the night. You know, sometimes we do it. You can't sleep because you just need that little midnight snack and then you can settle down. And it's quite common for kids, I think, especially. And let's face it, these are furry kids. Toilet, you've already said, doesn't seem to be that. So, the most likely then is the social contact. What would I do if I had a puppy like that? You're probably not going to like my solution. Is I would move the puppy's cage into my bedroom or have a separate puppy bedroom cage. Now, that makes it feel like they're more likely to cry and be silly, but actually because they can hear that we're just settled down and we're, our breathing is sleeping breathing, that tends to help them to relax. So it means that they tend to sleep better. I know it feels like that's a backstep, and it is to a degree, because every time she cries, if you go to her, you are reinforcing the crying because the crying works. But likewise, if every time she cries, you leave her to cry, if it's a social attachment anxiety, you are making them more anxious because crying isn't working and they don't know where you are. And that builds up that insecurity even more. All right. And having them right next to you means that you can just stick your hand through the bars and give them some physical contact. So you're not having to communicate with them at all. And it's just enough to help them to settle. Other things that can help is things like hot water bottles or heat pads, something that provides a physical shape, like a dog toy that they can snuggle up to. Yeah. Or ticking clocks for that rhythmic sound, or music that's it's kind of same-ish. So they do through the dog's ear music. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. So it's called Through the Dog's Ear, and it's quite good for helping dogs to calm down for some dogs. The other thing that you can think about is things like the Adaptil plugins can help to reduce anxiety in general. Adaptil. So if you're not sure and you want me to repeat, just remind me, because I don't know whether you remember, but I've had 0 sleep. So I'm like, bleh. I only got 5 hours last night as well, so my brain is like, bleh. So if you don't find it yourself, get me to remind you again. All right, any other questions before we start class? All right, so this week what I'm going to talk about for you is emotional self-control, and the fact that all young animals, including us, are not born with it. And if you think about, if any of you, and you can give me some big nods, anyone that's lived with a child, a 2-year-old child specifically, and said no to them, and the result of that single word, that volcano of emotions that just tips out of that child, and that cute, sweet angel person that you share your life with becomes this super embarrassing, just literally, it's a volcano, isn't it? And puppies are the same, and they've got really, really good reason to be. That part of their brain that actually downgrades emotions and makes it easier for them to use the thinking part of their brain is not fully functional yet. It just isn't there yet. It doesn't work. Now, that doesn't mean to say then that we just ignore it. We can start to help them to develop self-control, but it doesn't happen overnight, and it's not an easy track. But we're going to talk about games that can help them to start to control their own urges, that can help them to start to think a little bit. And they're not going to get it right straight away. It's something that they develop over the course of time. Now, luckily, Dodo unfortunately has had to go to work again, and he's my puppy, although he's, you know, he's over 2 now. So he still has some emotional control issues. And the little girl behind me, who's 13, and you can't see her head because I've left the door open. Told you I was tired. She has always had what you might call emotional control issues. And she, I think, will probably get some of this wrong for you. So she'll be a good demo dog and be able to show you what it looks like and what you do when they get it wrong. So we're going to talk about controlling the urge to go after something that you really want. And it's about choice here. None of this is about force. None of it is about making the dog leave something alone or walk away from something. It's all about saying that is a good choice, and I'm going to reward you for that if you can make that choice. Okay, so we're setting them up to make choices, and when they get the choices right, we're going to reward them like crazy. Who's excited to learn about that? Does that sound like a good plan? All right, so it's a quick slurp. I forgot to get my little Tykes mug out, but this was a Christmas present, so I don't know how much you can see. There is Spring, who was severely abused and came to me as a broken dog, and Twiggy at the top of Mantor, and Maybe, who's going to help us to work just now, and Tyke, who gave his name to the business. So, and it's starting to fade now, which is making me very sad. Anyway, game number 1. Twiggy says she wants to play too. Game number 1, from Sammy to me. Everyone's video is frozen on me, but I can still hear. Oh, bless you. Oh, Sammy. Don't worry, you can watch it back. All right, game number 1. It's called Zoom the Food. So the aim of the game, this is the final, this is the finished version demonstrated by Twiggy, is that food should be able to come slowly all the way to your nose, and when it touches your nose you can have it. Okay, that's the end of the game. Maybe not as good at this. All right, she's my little, doesn't have very good self-control. It's got worse since she started to go blind. She's getting cataracts. So, you know, now she's not sure whether or not the food's here or there. It's a little bit. So, to begin with, you your slow bit isn't very long and the zoom is really quick. Okay, so you're doing a very, very short slow bit and a really rapid long bit for your zoom. Yeah, so we go slow, 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 zoom, like that. Now, the effect that has, and we show you on Maybe, because she's the one with the less control. So Twiggy on your bed. Maybe, come here. Stay there. So the effect it has on Maybe then. So we're going to go slowly and zoom it. Slow, 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 zoom. Oops, drop one because I'm tired. There we go. Oh, you've got to come on camera because they can't see you otherwise. All right. We're going to go slow, but I'm a little bit closer. Can you see? And I'm going to zoom. Now, from her point of view, because she's already had several just zoomed into her mouth, she might as well stay back there. Plus the fact that as I come in, I'm going so fast that she feels like she needs to pull her head back a little bit from it. Does that make sense? Because there's hands flying towards you. So now we're going to see how far we can go. Can we zoom? Slow zoom in closer. Yes, we can. And can you see that what she's doing is she's trying to flinch her head away a little bit? Yeah? So she's holding herself back a little bit from the food. So we're going to go slow and we can see if we can go all the way. Just tipping her nose away, and she says, and she's starting to understand. All right, so I want you to have a go at that. All right, we'll put you on gallery view so we can see everybody. So it's also a nice little game for jumping up, because obviously if you're holding yourself back from the food and controlling your impulse to jump towards the food, then you're not jumping up. So you're practicing keeping yourself nice and still. This is also a really, really nice game to play if you're trying to keep your puppy's attention while there's dogs or people that you don't want them to talk to. You can play the Zoom game. Because you can see you get lots of attention. So the way we can judge whether or not we're able to make our slow bit shorter is looking at the dog's body language. If they're tending to start to get shuffly and want to move forward, then we need to deliver before they start jumping up and moving towards the food. So that kind of tells us we've got to zoom quicker. Or do a shorter distance of the slow zoom and a longer distance of the fast zoom. Yes, that was better, Tina. How did you get on, Grace? Is that a thumbs up? Yes, beautiful. Yay, thank you very much for that great big thumbs up. Love it. Okay. So we're going to play a different game. I'm going to move you without dropping you, hopefully. Oh, so you can see down here. Oh, have I gone off? Can you see me? Yes, I can't see me. I've gone off the main screen. Ah, there I am. Okay. So here's my floor. Look, we might have to. You've done a wee wee. Somebody's got a leaky belly. My little old lady. She's already been out today. There's a wet patch on the bed. Leave the phone alone, thank you. All right. So come out the way. Wait there. So little game. It's very much like the bowl game. Yeah. So you remember? Did we do the bowl game? Thumbs up. Have we done the bowl game in this class? Because if we haven't, I get mixed up. No. Right, we'll do the bowl game first then. So you'll need something, a container that you put some treats in, that's just big enough for you to put your hand in and just small enough for you to cover with your hand if you need to. Okay? You've done a leak. Leaky belly. I know. Can't be helped. Stay there. I'm in bed. There you go. Right, is everyone back yet? Okay, so the final part of this game, the end goal, if you like, is that you will be able to put something down in front of your dog and stand up away from it and not have to say anything at all to them. Yeah? So we're not having to chant any words at them or any cues at them. And how do we get there? Well, we get there by helping them to understand that what works is holding yourself back from the food. What doesn't work is moving towards the food. It's a silent game, so we're not saying anything at all. I know I've got to say stuff because I've got to teach you. But we're going to hold the bowl to begin with wherever we need to hold it, so that the dog can't get it wrong. So you would start with your bowl up here if you've got a puppy who jumps up. All right? One hand holding your bowl, the other hand is going to be for rewards. This must return to a holding place between rewards. So the game goes, I move the bowl down slightly. The dog holds herself still. This hand goes in to get a reward and gives it to the dog. Returns back to its holding place. Bowl comes lower. Hand moves. Treat delivered. Back to resting place. Lower, and you go through this over and over. Now with your puppies, you're going to be doing quite short changes. The distance is going to be literally tiny changes. All right? Because it's hard. So we want to keep the reward frequency high. The hardest parts for the puppy are as you're going past their nose, they're more likely to see her response because she knows this. Her response was to pull her nose further away from it and to look at me. But your puppy's drive, what makes sense to them will be to try and get into the bowl. So that's going to be really hard. The next hardest bit is once it's on the floor, is taking your hand away from the bowl a little bit. Okay? Keep the same reward hand though. So what you can do, just change this again. What you can do once you're on the floor is take your hand away, but not all the way away. The reward hand comes in to give the treat. And if the puppy moves towards the bowl, you can then, you're close enough to pick it up and move it out of position again so that it's higher. All right? You ready? You're going to have a bash at that and we'll put you on view so we can see how everyone gets on. So if your puppy stretches their nose towards it, And remember, the reward hand is going into the bowl to get the treat. If the puppy's stretching towards the bowl, make it easier. Move the bowl further away. We want our body language to explain to the puppy that moving towards the bowl doesn't work. Okay, and the hand, the reward hand, doesn't go into the bowl until the puppy's made the choice to hold themselves back from the bowl. So that's why we need that hand to go back to resting place each time. Beautiful. And what you should see is you should see their cogs start to work. You should see their thinking brain. Instead of their just go straight after, their sort of instinctive brain, go straight after that thing that you want. What we want is we want their cognitive brain, their thinking brain to start to switch on, which teaches them to control emotions. So I think everybody's getting it, aren't they? Anybody not seeing their puppy make a choice? Remember, some pups take longer than others. Roxy was doing really well then. I did see that you were doing really well, and then suddenly somebody moved and that was too hard. Okay, beautiful. All right, so once you've got the bowl game, then it makes the next game a little bit easier. So we'll bring you down here and get a view. Oh, trying to balance my phone. Phone doesn't want to balance. There we go. So the next game becomes a bit easier. So remembering that your puppy has been used to you just bringing food straight to them, then this game, where the food is in the hand, they're going to assume that they can take that food. If they move towards the hand, all I want you to do is close it. And when they hold themselves back, look at Twiggy, she says, I'm not even looking at it. I'm going to look at the ceiling. When they're holding themselves back and they're controlling that urge, the food zooms to them. Make a really obvious difference in that behavior. So your hand doesn't just open and you don't just let them take it. If they move towards the hand closes. And when they've got it right, it zooms into them. Does that make sense to everybody? Can you give that a go? All right, darling. Yeah, I know. Let's go that way. So the only reason I would ever pull that hand away would be if they were really hurting me, they were biting me, or they were clawing at me. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep the hand completely still until I see them make that little choice to hold themselves back from it. And Roxy just did that little head nod is like, you can see her almost swear to herself. Oh, damn, I got it wrong. Yeah. So for her, that's really hard work. So as soon as she pulls her nose back, zoom that in because she's trying really, really hard. Zoom in now. Can you see that little yawn? That was a stress yawn. It was getting too hard. Yeah. So for little Roxy, what I want you to do is as soon as you see her, that's it. She did it. Zoom it in. She's doing it. Zoom it in straight away. Don't wait for too long. With your puppies, really take that first choice. The first time you see them pull their nose away from it, first time you see them sit back away from it a little bit, don't make it too hard. Because they don't forget, they're trying to use a brain that has no idea about this. This is a brand new concept. What do you mean I don't get what I want straight away? Okay, keep it nice and still, just close it. Wait for any tiny movement away from it and then zoom it towards them. There, with Monty. Did you see that little pull back? I want that little pull back. Yeah? Take it. Don't wait for too much. Don't ask for too much. So the important thing here is the difference in our body language between it's not available and it is available and it moves towards them. It opens and moves. She says there's something else going on. Wait for that tiny movement with Rufus. There, beautiful. This has all gone wrong now. For little Roxy, i.e. Roxy, it's super exciting now. It's hard to concentrate and think of things when exciting stuff's going on. You have to wait for it to calm down a little bit. Okay, so another game. So if you watch this one. All right. This one, same game, but slightly different. Here's the hand with the T's in it, but here's the reward. Okay, here's the rewards. So as soon as she holds herself back, I'm going to flash the other hand in. So even though, and I've just dropped one, so maybe it's got one. Even though this is available and it's clearly in the environment and she would quite like it, she's going to get rewarded for turning her head away from it. Okay, so I'm moving her view away from this. So she's not even looking at it anymore. Okay. Does that make sense? So here there's food in this hand, but when she holds herself back and she controls herself, reward is over here. Oh, darn it. So you go to bed. Come here, we'll do the one that's going to get it wrong. Twig, on your bed. Twiggy on your bed. Lay there. Maybe May. Okay. So remember, it's really important with this one that the reward hand stays really still until you've seen them make a good choice. And then the reward position is going to explain to them, turn away from that other item. That other item isn't part of the game anymore. You can have a bit of a stash in your reward hand if you're able to wiggle one to the front of your hand. You can have a few in there, but keep that reward hand really still. Otherwise it becomes a distraction, and we don't want to use it as a distraction away from. We want to use it as a reward for making the choice not to take the other one. If you find that you are a fiddler and you fiddle with your fingers, with your reward hand, stick it behind your back or sit on it. You know, it's hard for us to keep that reward hand still sometimes. So what you would do with that game Once they're really good at ignoring the one that's in the hand and is obvious and it's open, then you would swap hands. Okay, so now we're going to mess with their head and we're going to say, oh, no, the rules have all changed. So to begin with, they're going to find it hard. So you might want to do the closed fist game. Some puppies just go straight from one to the next, which they've done by the looks of it. Oh, no. Beautiful. All right. Next stage or next game. You stay there. I'll play. You stay there. I'll play with maybe. Right. So with this game, you need a piece of floor. Get her where you can see her. What I'm going to do is I've got rewards in this hand. I've got a piece of food that I'm going to place on the floor. If she looks at it or moves towards it, I'm going to keep it covered. If she looks away from it at all or moves herself back from it at all, I'm going to reward her over there. So she turns away from it. Any look at it, all I'm going to do is look as if I'm going to cover it. If she completely ignores it and doesn't look at it, or she chooses to look away from it, this hand flashes in to reward over there. Okay, look what she's done with her body language now. Has she bothered to come back towards it? Yeah? So I'm going to reward her. And now that I know that she's starting to understand she can't have that one, to make the reward hand move, she has to hold herself back from it. Then I can start to take my body language a little bit further away. But don't rush. I want you to catch every good decision and prevent every bad decision. Now, there's no good and bad. It's from our point of view. The dog's got no concept of good and bad. They've got no concept. So don't blame them if they get it wrong. If they get it wrong, it's just part of that learning for them. But you need to make sure they can't get it wrong as much as possible. Try and prevent them from getting it wrong in the first place. Set them up to get it right. So you don't ask them to do it for too long. You keep that reward rate high. Again. Everybody on board with us so far? Anybody got any questions, any concerns? Are you all winning? Thumbs up if you feel like you're winners. Happy winners. Okay. So these games all go together. You've got a sort of thumb sideways. These games all go together. So we're rushing through them just now. Don't forget that your puppy hasn't understood the concept yet. So I expect them not to be brilliant to begin with. But I need to demonstrate them all to you. All right? So don't ever compare how your puppy's doing with my dogs or with any of the other puppies. Your puppy learns at their own speed, in their own time. Take a deep breath. If your pup's not doing it, don't panic. Just means they're going to take a little bit longer, but we are rushing a lot faster through this than you know I want you to do in real life. All right? Thumbs up this time. Yes, Ish. I'm not impressing you two. Do you want to talk to me about it, Laura and Roxy with a Y? Are you all right? No, we're all right. All right-ish. Get back to me about it if you're really not doing it. If you really feel like you're failing with your puppy on any point, you can organise a one-to-one with me. So you've got all of my individual time. to go through it all and really get you back on track, because we don't want anybody really losing it with their puppies. Yeah, I've seen you get it right a few times. She says, I know which hand it's coming from now. All right, so the next game, again, rushing on, rushing on, rushing on. Oh, where are we? Let me get you where we're going. This is a game, I love this game. It's called Feed the Floor. Right, you go on there. We'll do this one with Twiggy. So the game is, on your bed, stay there, Twiggy. The game is, you put one on the floor and you give one to the dog. And you can see when I've rewarded, I've used that reward to help move her back away from the one that's on the floor. One on the floor, one to the dog. Yeah? All we're doing, one on the floor, one to the dog, like that. Until you've got a little pile of treats on the floor. Now, if you want to be ever so super clever with this, and your puppy's doing really well, you can spell the first letter of their name with your feed on the floor. So you can start to make a little letter. And if your puppy's doing super, super well, you get a photo of the letter and your puppy in the same view. Yeah, and you send it to the WhatsApp group to prove that you've done it. So here we go, I'm making a tea for Twiggy. Wait there. So they'd obviously, for you to be able to get a photo, they're going to need to be able to sit back from it long enough for you to be able to back off instead. So it's quite a hard thing to do, so I'm not expecting you to be able to do it this week, but eventually your puppy should be able to sit back and wait for the next reward for a length of time. Now, once you've got a pile of food on the floor, the next job is going to be pick up each piece individually and feed it to your dog. So we're going to the pile, to the dog, one at a time. And if you've got an additional dog, you can see, maybe you can't see, if I move, maybe you can see then. If you've got an additional dog who isn't working, what you can do is you can reward them for holding themselves on the bed. So she's getting rewarded there, and she's getting rewarded over there. Yeah. Until they've all gone. Happy? Does everybody enjoy that game? Yeah, I like that game. Okay. Oh, who wants to see me show off? You don't have to, because I know but I quite enjoy thinking games. Dogs, when you can see the cogs start to turn, and that calms them down. Getting the brain into thinking mode helps them to bring themselves down. I am going to show off because I love this. I think it's hilarious. Yeah, you do, don't you? All right. I've moved my phone now though, so that don't work. Okay. So, move. This is helping. One of these games both help to teach your dog the concept of waiting. Okay, so let's get you turned around. Quickly, turn around. Lay down. Maybe lay down. Wait there. Okay. Wait. Wait. Maybe obviously the one with more impulse control issues, so the black one, she finds games like this really difficult. She says, you can't put them on my feet. Okay, so if you want to take it to silly advanced levels and you feel like you want that kind of control, but look at May, that's really hard. You see her staring at the food. It's really, really hard. Whereas Twiggy, she's not quite as a drivey personality. She understands the concept of self-control. Yeah. So. Okay. And what we have at the end, if you are training things like that, we have a little release cue. In other words, and now you can cue. So I use OK for them. It does get me into trouble sometimes because I quite often use it in normal conversation. So you might want to think about training a release cue that means now you can get it, now you can have it, but preferably a word you're not going to use in normal conversation. Because they very nearly got it wrong just then, because actually, when you play the video back, you'll hear that I say OK, and then I go, are they going to get it wrong? Because I'd given them the release cue that I've trained, but they managed to hold themselves, luckily. But that could have been me being embarrassed. Okay, so that I think we'll end on that one for today. What I do want to do though is a quick, so they're the games, but there are some other things I want to talk to you about. Things about emotional control. You're going to get frustrated when your dog is needing something, whether that be attention or food or whatever, and you're not in a condition to give it because you're already busy. So I'd like for you to have a way of telling your puppy that that behavior is not going to function, that nagging behavior is not going to function. And the nicest way I know of doing that is teaching them a cue to go away from me, to take yourself away from me. And it's really simple to teach. It's just a case of remembering to do it. So all we're going to do is we're going to say, go away. And the reward goes away after we've said it. And because she's already taught, she obviously goes, oh, you're going to do this then. Okay, go away. Go away. And if I'm on the sofa or I'm eating or whatever, that's what I'm going to say to them. I'm going to tell them drooling on my plate is not going to work, but if you move away, the food is going to be over there. And then I'll have something next to me while I'm eating, while they're puppies. I have something next to me that I'm happy to toss towards them. So it goes behind them is really important. So they turn away from me after I've said the go away cue. Does that make sense? So it's learning a cue. When the owner says this, there's no point carrying on the behavior you're doing because the reward is going to be behind you. Does that make sense? All right, so that's the go away cue, or you call it what you like. It doesn't have to be go away, you know. In fact, when we're on our own in private, they have a slightly different cue that's a little bit ruder, and it begins with an F. FO. Massage to help calm them down. Because of some of the things that you've said this week about losing your rag with your puppies, what I want you to think about here is that you can help them to feel more relaxed and more settled by the way that you use your hands. So we're going to talk about that just now. So I need an assistant. Can I have you? Can you get up and come here? No, because we're not doing rolling on your back. Get up. Okay, so your hands, first of all, we need to recognize that the way we hold our hands and touch our dogs, if they don't like what we're doing, they do give us cues or clues that they don't like it. So I want you to watch Twiggy's ears. If I touch her ear, she pulls, could you see that tiny movement? She's not, look at that tiny twitch of an ear away from me. You can't see it so well on video, I don't think. And she's learned actually to allow me to do it. But when she was a puppy, she hated it. And she kept dipping her head every time I moved towards her ears. And she would even turn around and offer her back end. She says, look, I like to be touched on my back end. I don't really like it when you touch me on my ears. All right, so listen, watch for those tiny body languages that tell you, I want to be touched by you, I want to be interacted with you, but this bit's uncomfortable. Yeah. Then I also want you to look for any indication that a part is a nice bit. So what she's doing there is she's leaning her body into that scratch on the front of her chest, but it's not quite right. So we haven't quite got the lean. And if I go a little bit further, she says, oh yeah, there's the place. All right, now I can show you a really beautiful one with her because she's dead good. Come here. Go that way so we can see you. I know it's weird being on video and all. Come here. If I get the right spot on her bum, she will start to dance. Yeah? She's going, oh yeah. And she's stretching her head up and back. And she's pushing her bum and her hip into my hand. And she says, yep, there, perfect, love it. All right, so if I do this side of her hip, her bum goes that way. I do this side of her hip, it goes that way. She says, that's lovely, do it more. She says, yeah. All right, and if I change to the bit she doesn't like, she had that tiny little head bob. She says, oh. Although she's learning to really like it now. So she will start to come to me for ear massages now, and she will tell me which bit she likes. So the next thing I want you to know about your hands is, if your hands are moving in grabby, excited sort of ways, then your dog is going to wind up. We're increasing the sensory drive in their brain, so they're going to start to get more excited. And that's why she shook off, because that started to increase that arousal in her body. So she had to shake that feeling off. If our hands on the other side of that spectrum, if our hands are very slow and very strong, I'm not pushing hard, but I've got a full hand contact. Yeah, and I'm going to move it really, really slow. You'd rather have food. Yeah, I know. But we're doing massage just now. We're doing massage just now. Come back here. Ugh. So really slow, really long. Think of when you've had a really nice massage yourself. Maybe says me. When you've had a really nice massage, it's long on the muscle, isn't it? It's full contact. Yeah? going to do the full body. So places that are going to help them to calm down, especially, are on the front of the chest. Ugh. Turn around that way, maybe get out of the way. Front of the chest, just here, just between the forelegs, really slow. Most dogs really like that. Okay? Places that quite often will help them calm down if you've got a dog that does like their ears being touched. Base of the ear. Put your hand under and behind the whole ear and just gently move the ear. There's no pressure, it's just little circles. We're circling the base of the ear. It's not her favourite, so, but she will allow it to happen. Can you go on your bed? I love maybe. She's getting upset. Come here. So for May, she does like face and ear contact. She likes all of this, so she tends to push into it. She tends to like it. And again, if my hands are fast and grabby, can you see her lick, lick, lick? That's her arousal system coming on board, yeah? So her tongue starting, lick, lick, lick. See her tail. If I carry on being grabby and silly, she's going to get more and more excited. She's going to start playing. Whereas if my hands go still, full contact, her breathing rate will reduce. She will start to come calmer with me. All right? So you can very much use massage to start to influence how your puppy is feeling. But when you're trying to calm them down, I've seen people trying to calm dogs down and their hands are frantic while they're trying to calm the dog down. You need to calm your hands down, calm your body down, calm your voice down, and your puppy will join you. Yeah? All right, that's it, I think. That'll do. Any questions on all that lot? You all relatively happy with where you are? I know that you're living with puppies and we can't change that because do you know what? You went out and got puppies to live with. So it's not going to be easy and I'm sorry about that. And you will feel like you want to kill them sometimes. But hopefully you can start to come together and start to understand each other a bit better. Do you mind? All right. Any questions? Are you all relatively happy if we sign you off? You've got a question. Go on then, darling.
Only wondered about doggy daycare, your prices and stuff, and when you're open and things like that.
Okay, so Dawn deals with all the doggy daycare stuff.
Does she? All right, okay.
Don't do any of those bookings because I'll mess it up. You know, I'm still working almost full time at the vet, so I can't. Just time wise as well, I can't do it. But
No, that's fine.
what you do, message her on Little Tykes, either via Facebook or you can send an email to tykesdoghub@gmail.com. Yeah, or
Yeah.
if you ask then on our puppy training chat, I'll just tell you how to get in touch with her because I can give you the phone number and stuff. But yeah, she does it all because if I get involved, I'll just mess it up.
Okay, no worries.
Right. Anybody else want a quick question? No? All right then, we say goodbye. Thank you very much for putting up with me in my very tired state. I hope I've done a decent job for you. All right. Bye.